This is a part of my collection that I've just kept over the years. Nothing substantial, I suppose, in the collection, but this little bike here, it's originally came out in 1969 in Japan. Australia got them in 1970. They were in opposition to Honda and so on that brought out the little Honda monkey bikes. And this is a much more sophisticated motorcycle. It's a 60cc rotary valve engine, and that stage of the game, well, the XR75 Honda was racing, and anyway, this particular one here, we gave a bit of a warm up. It will do about 60 mile an hour, this particular one here, and still is an exceptional little road bike. So all my kids learnt to ride on this particular bike. It's got a sentimental value because it used to be, as I said before, used to be a transportable item when I had my caravan. And anyway, all we did, we could tie it down in the caravan, go away on trips with it and everything like that, or we put it in the back of the ute we used to pull the caravan. And we ended up, well, I decided I never had the heart to sell it or bash it around or anything like that. At the moment it probably hasn't run for 3 or 4 years, but take about 15 minutes and it'll be in perfect running order again. This particular bike I'm with at the moment is a 1984 DT175 Yamaha. Well, this particular bike is ridden just about every day. Use it as a shopping trolley, and when I sold my business years ago, I decided I was going to have any bikes around, they were going to be the most reliable bikes I sold. Now these gave less problems than any other Yamaha I ever sold, I think, so that's why I kept this one. It does everything I want to do, and I bought it in a blown up condition nearly 30 years ago, and anyway, just rebuilt the motor and ported it to my specifications to make it go a bit better. And no, very extremely happy with it, and another motorbike that's got a lot of nostalgia. So I intended one stage of the game to be using it, taken away on the trailer and so on, and the son and I, we had one each, and we did a lot of running around in the bush. Yeah, right. I'll show you this particular bike. It's a 1981 R80 GS BMW. I've got a fair bit of touring stuff on it, as you can see. Again, when I sold out of the dealership, I decided to get probably what I classified as one of the most reliable BMWs, and this one came to me. It was one of the last deals I did. I traded it in 1985 when I sold the business, and it's been a very useful workhorse as far as touring around. See, it doesn't look much like an off-road bike at the moment with all the screen and so on it, but to transform that into a full trail bike as it came out would probably be half an hour's work. Everything can be just stripped off it and returned to original. These originally came with an orange seat now, and I have changed the seat to a darker one naturally, and scalloped the seat out to make it comfortable. The original seat was very uncomfortable. Yeah, these is part of my workshop equipment here. I've had for many years. On the right here, a couple of cylinder boring bars. They go back to a 1930s model there, and then into a 1960s model over there. This is a gear hobbing machine. It cuts gears. I restored it many years ago, but it's not something that's in everyday use. The lathe over here, naturally, that gets used on a daily basis, and it would be one of the... Okay, the machine I've got my hand on here is a 1950s Douglas Australian made shaper, because back in those days, believe it or not, Australia did have a manufacturing industry. It seems to have gone west these days, but Anyway, that used to get used regularly, machining down cylinder heads. Found it was much more effective than an actual milling machine. The other machine there, just an ordinary mill drill that is used again for making all sorts of small parts, and well, it was just one I bought out of the paper many years ago, and it, along with the equipment it's got, it's a very useful bit of workshop equipment.